Global challenges are back. The first of 3 global challenges wrapped up last week, with the winner taking home 160 championship points. The global challenge is an online tournament format where players from across the world play up to 45 games over a 3-day period in a system that's kind of similar to the ranked ladder. You gain rating for wins, you lose rating for losses, and then at the end, the highest placing players are awarded championship points towards their Worlds invites. The major difference between a global challenge and our standard offline major regional events is that a global challenge is best of 1, and it's completely closed team sheets. We're back in the Wild West of not knowing anything about your opponent's team and trying to figure it out as you go along. Building for a global challenge is a fundamentally different experience than building for a best of 3 open team sheet tournament, and it can be really hard to find inspiration when most of the successful teams that you're seeing in circulation are built for best of 3 open team sheet. So today, I'm here in advance of the next global challenge to give you some insight into the do's and don'ts of what makes a good best of 1 closed team sheet team. Let's get right into it. First of all, do not take a team that just performed well at a regional and bring it into this tournament calling it a day. While some of these teams are capable of performing in the best of 1 closed team sheet environment, you're still putting yourself at a disadvantage where a lot of your opponents are likely to know what your sets look like while you're completely in the dark with whatever their moves are running. You don't want to give yourself any unnecessary disadvantages in this format. Be like a Cobra Kai. Strike hard, strike first, no mercy. You're going to run into a lot of really wacky hyper-offensive stuff in these tournaments, things that you're not used to. Random choice scarves, random Pokemon choices, weird sets on otherwise common Pokemon. And if you play a slow, balanced team, your opponents are often going to have all the space they need to execute whatever their weird game plan is. But if you have a really wacky hyper-offensive plan yourself, there's a good chance that you'll be able to pull off your move before they can pull off theirs, and you just have to worry about it a little less. If you're confident in your ability to outplay with a slower team, then you want to make sure that your team is built to survive all manner of weird shenanigans. Calc for weird things that you usually wouldn't care about. Choice band Tauros, for example. Screens are also generally pretty good in this format if you're playing slower because of how much they slow down any potential offense from the other side. Wild outside-the-box strategies are encouraged, but make sure that they're solid too. Don't force a subpar strategy just because it's wacky and wild. Nobody is going to expect your choice specs Clodsire, but they're also not going to lose to it, are they? Running unorthodox sets on popular Pokemon is another great way to mess with your opponents by lulling them into a false sense of security. Dragonite is almost exclusively run as a physical threat, but it has 100 special attack. You could bluff a standard set by running Dragonite and Chien-Pao, but have Thunder and Hurricane on your Dragonite with a Rain mode on your team, for example. Avoid inviting variance to your games. Best of 1 is unforgiving. In a best of 3, you might be comfortable relying on slightly inaccurate moves like Heat Wave to carry you to victory. If you miss one, you've got 2 more games to bring it back. But in a best of 1, over-relying on any moves that are not 100% accurate will lose you games over the course of the weekend. Avoid centering your most common game plans around these moves and keep them as secondary options as often as possible. Consider unorthodox terra types. Don't feel the need to force them, but one of the biggest pain points in closed team sheet best of 1 in Scarlet and Violet is that an unexpected terra type on the opposing side can completely derail your entire game plan. This works especially well for defensive terra types, where your opponent may feel confident in their ability to remove a piece from the board, which then suddenly survives a double up. Weird terra types can also work well in conjunction with Terra Blast to give fast threats like Iron Bundle a surprise move that just deletes a Pokemon that it's really not supposed to be able to touch. Finally, make sure you brush up on your knowledge of the toolkits of underused yet powerful Pokemon. Game knowledge is critical in a format like this. You have to be able to play around that weird possibility that maybe the Ceruledge has weak armor and will outspeed you and lose you the game if you target it improperly. You'll never memorize every Pokemon's toolkit, but a good place to start would be to look at the Pokemon who have a high base stat total and go from there. Global challenges can be grueling, and it's incredibly difficult to maintain a consistent win rate in this format, so the most important thing is to have a good time. Bask in the wacky, wild environment, laugh at the insane things that you're bound to encounter, share your experiences with your friends. The next global challenge is going to be April 21st to April 23rd, so make sure that you sign up. Keep in mind that you have to register your team at the point where you sign up, so make sure that you're not slacking on building your team either. How was your experience with the first global challenge this year? Let me know in the comments below what the craziest thing you encountered was, and whether you lost to it or whether you were able to persevere and take the win. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys next time.